Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GITGUDracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. For turn 1, what I'm using as a reference for braking is this white line here. I want to brake slightly before it, so not at the white line, but just a bit before it. And just because it's an uphill braking zone, you don't really want to brake that much, because the car will slow down a lot more on itself. So the goal here is to find that sweet braking pressure so that the tires won't be overheated while braking. So I'm peaking around 60% and I'm staying in second gear, and I found that second gear is a bit better than first, just because if you're gonna go with first gear you have to brake a bit later, or you have to brake a bit harder as well, and it's not good for the tires, and the advantage that you gain by braking later and harder is not justified enough in this corner. So staying in second gear, carrying the minimum speed, so my delta goes green all the way up until here, and then of course I'm gonna lose a bit of that just because the traction won't be as powerful as going in first gear, but still it's a very good way to approach that corner. Now coming into this S's section, here you want to set them very nicely as quickly as you can. So starting even from here, I'm trying to hook this curb, and it's gonna play an important part in gaining 1/10 in this corner. Even though it's a flat out corner, you want to cover the less distance possible. So you can do that by having the left tire still on the white line, and it won't be an off track in the initial part. And now when you're tracking out a bit wider, you want to be mostly on the right side, not in the center left for the next right-hander, because otherwise you're gonna lose 1/10 in what is a simple flat out corner, but very easy to lose that time. Now opening up just a bit, and I'm turning to this corner just before I see it. So around here I'm already turning in, very close to this yellow sausage curb, same in this part, and for this one right here, just before arriving at the curb, you want to drop the throttle and add some trail braking. So I'm trailing now in the 5-6 percentages, very slowly, and you don't need to push the brakes a lot. You just need a bit of weight on the fronts just for the car to point, but not too much to the point that you will overslow the car. So the goal is to go as quickly as you can with minimum brake pressures. Instantly after you get past the apex, you're going back on power, and for this corner, what I'm using as a reference, I want to get on the curb first, and the moment that I'm on the curb, I'm applying the brakes again, 4-5-6% on the brakes, no more than that, and then go back on power and cutting again this curb. You see here that we have this banner board on the top. I want to be at this position in time before the banner board, so whenever I'm going past it, again I'm applying like 5% brakes and going back on power, just to make sure I will bring the car all the way to the right side for this corner. And here again I'm braking with 4% braking, so don't brake too much. 2-6% braking will be enough to make the front tires point. And for the next corner, guess what? Again, you just need to brake and turn, but in this case you can brake a bit more, just because in this corner you want to position to the right side. So I'm using the curb as much as I can, I'm putting back the power, and this corner here is gonna feel very sketchy, but you have to force yourself to do it with the smallest lift possible. So don't even lift to 0, I'm lifting to like 40%. And now going downhill, you can gain like 0.03, 0.05 by cutting this curb like that. Don't go around it, go to the straightest path possible. Braking point for this low speed corner is this white line. very closely to the arrow sign. So before it, I'm applying the brakes. You want to brake in a straight line as much as possible to slow down the car and turn very late for this corner. You still want to be on top of this yellow sausage curb, so barely kiss it on entry. And then putting the power down. Don't use too much this curb, you will easily get an off track, and that's the issue with this track. You can get a lot of cheap off tracks which are not even gaining you anything. It's just that the car gets just a bit wider and then you get that off track. So avoid using more track than you need. Now for the next corner, I'm looking at the 100, and slightly after the 100, or actually it's at the same point maybe, you see this white line around here. I'm applying the brakes at this white line. Again, I want to brake in a straight line as much as possible to be as efficiently as I can on the brakes, and then I'm turning and trailing into the corner. Very important to cut very close to this yellow sausage curb and immediately get back on power. It's no problem if you push the car to this part of the track. You have enough time to reposition to the left side. So whenever I find that my car is all the way to the white line, I try to straighten up the wheel first and then brake, so I can brake more in a straight line initially, and then rail brake in second gear to this curb. You want to be a bit closer to it, so I brake just a bit too late there. Now putting the power down, you want to stay flat into this section even though the car is going to be twitchy, because you want to delay your braking point. I want to brake when I'm very close to the next curb around here. So at this point I'm braking, and I'm braking almost in a straight line. I have just a bit of steering angle, but it's mostly straight, because you want to push the car wide and then with the trail brake to come and cut this curb. Very important to touch that curb there. Now going into the next one, you have to turn early for this one. You don't want to turn too late. It won't give you that advantage. So turning very early for this corner, getting close to this curb but don't cut it, and then do a small lift just before the next curb, and then you can cut the curb. So the goal here is to be on the exit as close as you can to the center right part of the track. You don't want to be coming to the left side, because that's gonna make you travel a longer distance and you will gonna lose some lap time. Now for the next corner here, you have this white line on the left side. At the white line on the left side, I'm applying the brakes. I'm braking and turning at the same time, and even before the apex, I'm back on power. You can use this curb a lot, so make sure you cut here more than you think. You won't get an off track. And heading into the next corner here, where I murdered the lap because I'm braking way too late. The braking point should be slightly before this white line, but I'm braking at the white line, so because of that the car is not stopping. You really want to cut this curb again like we did in previous corners and put the power, so here you should be already back on power, but because I missed the braking point, I'm on power here, which isn't ideal at all, but this was a mistake in the lap. And in short, that's a track guide of the American Grand Prix with the F3. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.